In this lesson, we're going to dive deeper into the Elements section on Canva to show you what elements you have access to use, customize, and more. The Elements section is where you can add a lot of personality to your designs, whether you're creating a design from scratch or maybe you're customizing a template. So with that, let's get to it. I currently have the design editor open on my computer or on my desktop, and I've already gone to the Elements section. If you haven't yet, it is the fourth option on the left sidebar. Once you click that, you're going to be taken to this Elements section, which is really cool. There's so many options that you have in here. The first is to search, the search function, pretty self-explanatory. You can search different things. They also have some recommended search terms for you. You can also filter. Like I said, if you are in previous lessons, pro accounts have the ability to filter a little bit more than free accounts, so just keep that in mind. And then you have the ability to just scroll down and kind of see recommended and suggested elements that they are trying to either showcase or that they think you may like. Now there's a recently used section here. You can click see all, and there's some options for you to use if you have recently used stuff and you typically are constantly using them. And now the next section they have is the featured section. The featured section is showcasing different elements that they think that you are maybe interested in, or maybe they're just showcasing a specific artist, so that's just something to keep in mind there. The line section is probably one of the most popular. Like I said, you can click see all on any of these sections and it will actually expand that specific section, and then you can click the little X on the search bar to exit out of that specific, more narrowed down search or section to come back to the main page. There's also shapes, frames, stickers, charts, and more. So I'm just going to go through a few of these because there are some features that will be very beneficial to you, and the first is lines. So I'm going to go in here and select a line. As you can see, it went onto my design, and on any element there are going to be a few features. You're going to see these little circles or dots at the end that allow you to kind of shift and move an element around depending on the element. Then there's going to be the little rotation feature that allows you to rotate a specific element. And there's also going to be the little stylus that allows you to kind of just move the element around on your design. Now in the sub navigation bar, which is this white bar right here, you're going to see a few different options. So for lines, you're going to see color, where you can go ahead and change the color to whatever you would like. If you have your brand kit, your brand color palettes will be up here. If you're not sure how to create your brand kit, go back a few lessons and we talked about how you can create a brand kit so that it's easy to style different designs. Then there's going to be the weight, which is the next option, and it's going to have the line weight. So it's currently set at 5. You can make it larger, smaller, and you can also type in a specific line weight if you're looking for something specific. We'll just keep it right now at 6. Then you're going to see the style function. This allows you to change the styling of a line. So as you can see, the styling changes as you're selecting these. Then you're going to see that you can have a line start and a line end, and you can change what that may look like. So if you want an arrow, like I said, you can select that, and I'll show you what that looks like on the design. You see there's a little arrow there. I'll actually make this slightly bigger so that you can see it a little bit better. There you go. You can also select this and change that, what it looks like. As you can see, they're changing, and once you click off of that, you can see what it looks like. So going back, whoops, we'll go back so that it fits. You can see here's the line. This end is that circle line start, and on this end it has kind of no ending. We'll put on here, looks like it had an arrow. We'll make it so it matches the other side. So there's how you kind of create a line in here. I am going to make this weight slightly bigger so you can see what that looks like, and there is your line. Now you can also utilize the features on the right hand side to position your element. So you can position it to the left, center, right, bottom, and these all change depending on where the element is, if you have any other elements on the page, and whatnot. Then you have a copy style, so you can actually copy the style and paste it. If you had another line, it would match this line style to the next one. You have a transparency option, which can change the transparency of the element you are selected on. We will keep it at 100 right now. You also have the option to link to an external website. This only is applicable if you are creating an element and it links to an external website and you're downloading it as a PDF. So if you're downloading it as anything other than a PDF, you probably won't utilize this link function, and you probably won't utilize it on a line element. You'd probably use it on something else. Now, if you're creating a bunch of elements or you have a lot of things on a page, you can lock this element in place, which means it's locked and not able to move, which means if you have some overlaying things, you won't have to worry about accidentally shifting this and moving it out of its place. You can also unlock that feature. You can duplicate the line if you would like. This allows you to duplicate, and then you can also trash an element if you want to get rid of that line. So that is a line feature. Like I said, it's probably one of the most commonly used elements on Canva, and they have updated the Canva design editor to ensure that lines have more features like I showed you with the weight, style, etc. You can also animate any line or any element that you have as a design page as a whole. So if I wanted to animate this page, I can animate it. Let's say the lines pan in and you can see that they're going in there. Then the ones with the crown are pro options, so if you do not have pro, you will not be able to utilize those animations. Next, I'm going to show you shapes. I'm going to add a few shapes on here just so you can take a look at them. We'll add a circle. Let's add a square. And we'll add a triangle as well. Now with these elements, you can see that they all have different functions in terms of what you can do to them. So with all of them, you can change the color. As you can see up here, you can easily change any of the colors of them. Oops, let's make that one so you can see it a little bit better. And each element has different functions. So with this one, you can rotate it, as you can see that same function that we saw with the lines, and you can change the size by utilizing this corner. And with the circle, you can also change it by making it skinnier in either direction or wider, as you can see here. Now for the square, you can do the similar thing by changing it from the corners, which keeps the shape, the width and height, but it changes it from there. Or you can utilize the lines on the sides to change the width or height. Now on the triangle, it's slightly different because you don't have the ability to change the width or height. You can only use the corners and drag them out or in. So it's just slightly different, but it's just something to keep in mind as you're creating elements, that they might slightly differ. Then you can also select all of the elements, and at the top you have the ability to group them together so that they're all moving as one. You could also position them to change their position, so you can make sure that they're all middle aligned. And I really like this tidy up feature, so it makes sure that the spacing that's in between them is even when you're selecting it. So now they're all evenly spaced. You can group them, and I can easily move them around as one. So that is the shapes. Then we have the frame function. So frames are really cool because you can add them to any design, and it allows you to upload a photo or add a photo to your design that is in that specific shape. Now, shapes can be kind of changed in terms of the width and height depending on which frame you're selecting, and they don't fill an entire screen. So if I go to photos, these are just the photos that Canva provides to you. You can easily add them, and it will drag them into there as that specific frame, as you can see. Going back to elements, there's also stickers. Stickers are a really cool option if you'd like a little bit of animation to your post. You can click see all and see all of the different animations that they offer. You can also search some, and with that I'm going to add one in just so you guys can see it. This is a sticker that you can add that adds just a little bit of animation, and by doing so you'll automatically be downloading that as an MP4, so just keep that in mind. Next, I'm going to show you guys how to utilize the chart function. I'm just going to delete these because we don't need them. On the charts, you're going to click see all, and you're going to have all of the different options. You can click any of them. The color of them really doesn't matter because you can change them to your branding utilizing the color feature that we previously talked about. And then you can also edit the percentage and the line weight. So you can make, like I said, you can make this skinnier, which we talked about, or thicker, similar to the lines. You can add a percentage label, and you can actually change the percentage based on what you are trying to create. And you can also change the endpoints here. You can change the font size, etc. So that is how you can utilize the chart element. Going back to elements again, you can see that there's some other options in here that you can mess around with and test out. And then there's also grids. So under the grid section, you're going to see that you can have all different kinds of grids for your design. The most common one is the singular design. When clicked, you have a grid that is just a 1 by 1, and you can make it smaller or larger. You can also go and click any of the other grids and you can modify them, and you can also change the spacing, which is next to the color wheel. You can see the spacing get larger or smaller. And that is how you can utilize the grid function. Going back to the elements, now there's going to be the gradient section. The gradient section is really cool if you want some different styles or elements that you can use to style your posts or designs, especially if your branding kind of incorporates any of these gradients. They're really good to use because you can add 2 different colors to them. So as I'm showing you here, you can add those 2 different options and it stays in line with your brand. Going back to the elements section once again, let's see how we can delete this, go back. There's all of the additional elements in here. So that's just something to keep in mind. The elements section is super nice because there are so many options available to you, and it allows you to really customize your designs. Typically, if you are utilizing an element, you're probably using it pretty often so that your brand is staying consistent in your posts and designs, so you can just use that recently used section. So that's how you use the elements section of Canva to add personality and different styling to your designs. If you have a question, feel free to drop us a comment or send us a message and we'd be happy to answer them. And we will see you guys in the next lesson.